Hey guys, welcome back to the Yes Perfect podcast, the podcast where we talk about anything and everything except for politics. Because today we're talking about D23, and we're talking about the movies and parks panels that happen on Saturday and Sunday. And today we got Matt here, Vinny here, and we got Chris here with us today. Say
Hey
hi,
guys,
guys.
how's it going? Oh, I'm already saying hi.
Hey,
Just
what's
jumped the
good?
gun there. I'm the special guest that was supposed to come every single week, but I always had things going on. So this podcast wasn't that perfect.
It's as perfect as it can be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I was very fortunate enough to actually be at D23 with Joey. Um, so we kind of have an insider. Oh, and Matt as well. So we kind of had
I'm the only one in this call that was not there.
right, exactly. So yeah. So we're talking about movies and parks today, right, guys?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, before we get into any of that, there was a little announcement of a little video game remaster happening for, was it Switch, PS4,
Little.
and Xbox? Just a little thing, right?
Just the
Lion
greatest-
King and Aladdin.
I don't know if it's that little.
First off, these are probably two of the best Disney games out there, and I would argue best movie adaptations that were made into video games. They're fantastic, and The Lion King was the first game I ever owned, ever played on the SNES. And the moment I found out about this, I freaked out. And my only complaint, I have two complaints. So, first off, what's really cool about these is that they're bundled together and they come with multiple different versions of the games. They come with the SNES versions. I believe the Aladdin has a Genesis version, which is arguably the better version of that. And then it also comes with the Game Boy Color versions. And it has behind the scenes features of the making of the games, which is a whole other story because, for instance, the Lion King one used actual Disney animators to help draw out the sprites and everything. It was this whole beautiful process. Two things I don't like. Well, I was somewhat hoping that they would go the DuckTale approach and do new cell shaded graphics and not just high res pixelations of the already existing games. I wish there was a feature. I wish they actually redid the game in made it almost look like the cartoon coming to life. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Some like what they did with DuckTales.
Like,
The other
I thought-
thing-
yeah.
Well, my other point before you start, really quick. The other thing was the covers really bother me because that's just a repackaged Photoshop kind of collage of the DVD, Blu-ray covers, and I wish they used the original covers and then did the top and bottom look. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, so when I saw this little announcement, I thought, like you were saying, I thought it was going to be kind of like the DuckTales remaster.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of expecting that, like, art style straight from the movies overlaid on it, but
Which they should do.
Yeah.
I would have freaked out, and the technology is there, but then again, they would have to from the ground up make that game, and
exactly.
I'm not arguing. I mean, I'm gonna buy this. I'm excited to. I haven't played these games in so long. I was for the Lion King. I did a Let's Play on my channel. I used an emulator that I downloaded and all this stuff. They never released any of these games in the eShops on the Wii or anything like that. In fact, I remember back in the day when Nintendo Power was still around and the Wii was the current console. They'd have a list at the end of the magazines, and they show all the games that were coming on the Virtual Console every month. And I remember one month they said The Lion King for the SNES, which for whatever reason, I don't know if it was Disney who held the pushed the brakes or Nintendo or what, but they ended up never releasing it. And it was kind of one of those titles that people really wanted a re-release of, and it just never came out. So this hasn't been sold or been in print since the 90s. And so this is kind of a big deal, and a lot of people are getting very nostalgic. And I don't know if you guys want to add anything else on it, but there are some new features. I guess some of the sprites are being are altered and spruced up, and then they have a rewind function and a what was it, like a play scene function where you can jump to any part of the game that you want,
That's cool.
which is kind of cool, but it takes away the I guess the challenge of the game. You can kind of the Lion King, I remember in the later levels, there's random bats that hit you, and it makes the game almost impossible to play. It's so difficult, but it seems like you can kind of get through that pretty easy now with this new function. And they do also follow suit like the Smash Brothers Ultimate, they do have a music list with all the songs and renditions of the famous classic music from the films. It's kind of like a library, which is kind of cool. And I'm going to shut up talking. I can talk hours about these games. I'm so passionate about it.
Man, it's cool.
It's cool.
You gush. You gush all you want.
Vinny went on a Muppet rant, so it's fine.
I did. I went on a 5-minute long rant about the Muppets last week. You can go on for as long as you want about this.
Did somebody say Muppets?
Oh, God.
Waka.
Don't even start. Don't even start with me, because it will be over. It'll be over.
Really quick, Vinny, because I unfortunately have yet to go through the entire episode. But what did you have to say about the Muppets? Not to reopen this door.
I was basically, to keep it short, I got a little bit heated about how they're underrepresented pretty much everywhere across Disney, especially in the parks now that Muppet Vision 3D is gone, and that they're really nowhere to be seen in Disneyland in California anyway.
Okay, anybody who knows me knows that I'm a big Muppet fan, okay?
Yes.
So, yes, the Muppet Vision 3D is gone in California Adventure, but it's still at Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Yes, I did mention that it was still in Florida.
And look, it has. I'll say this: they have an amazing area over there. They have Pizza Rizzo, which is a nice quick service. They have an amazing Muppet shop with like a giant statue of Kermit over there. Of course, I want to see more Muppets. I feel like they had to push the brakes on everything because of the mixed reception of the ABC show, which I personally loved.
I loved it too.
It was amazing. But here's the thing: they also, there's Steve Whitmire when he left as Kermit. I feel like that was a big hit to the team, and I feel like they had to kind of push the brakes and kind of recalibrate after that, and that's why they're doing a lot of live shows. Their presence is just kind of on the internet. They are coming out with the Disney Plus show, which is great.
Yes.
And there also is the Muppet Babies TV show that's introducing a whole new generation of young kids to these awesome characters. So yes, like I would love them to make a bunch of more Muppet sequels. I would love for them to do a lot of the planned attractions that they originally had for Disney's MGM Studios back in the day, like the Great Muppet Movie Ride. But the real, but I also understand that you don't want to oversaturate the public with these characters because they're iconic.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I can see now you just open. Now I'm ranting. I can talk about this forever.
It's a slippery slope.
It is. But I am excited to see what Muppets Now is all about, because that is either going to be something that a lot of people are going to love, or it's just going to be very underwhelming. And I think Joey and I talked I think it was Joey. Yeah, we talked a little bit in person. I'm very curious of how Kermit the Frog is handled, because we haven't really seen this. I forget the actor who's behind Kermit now, but I don't really know what his like improvisational skills are with Kermit, because Kermit thinks and acts a very specific way. And Jim Henson, Kermit was Jim, and then Steve Whitmire did an amazing job, I think, kind of capturing the soul of Kermit. So to see what this new guy does is going to be very interesting.
So is Matt Vogel the new voice? Is that his
correct?
name?
That's the name. I kept thinking of Brett Iwerks. Brett. What his name is? He's the one who does the new Mickey Mouse voice. It's new. He's been doing it for the past 10 years. But yeah. Matt Vogel, and he's been working with the Henson team for a very long time, and then he also did Constantine in the Muppets, the second, what was it called? The
Muppets Most Wanted.
Yeah,
Muppets Most Wanted. Right. So I don't know. We'll see.
Because Chris, I sent you the clip from the Amphibia panel they did, right? Did you watch that?
No, I haven't watched the clip yet. How was he? Oh, that's right. That would have been a good little taste of how he is. How was he in that clip?
The voice, it's off to me.
Right. So
it's a little bit off.
With Jim, there was he had a deeper Kermit, but it was soft. There was a softness to his voice. and it seemed almost effortless.
Yeah.
And there's so much emotion with his Kermit the Frog. What Steve Whitmire brought was more energy and a little bit more elasticity to the voice. It had a lot of higher notes, you know, like it would come up a little bit more.
Yeah.
With this new guy, I feel like he's trying to emulate not so much Steve Whitmire's, but Jim Henson's, which is great. But he doesn't have the warmth yet. It's a little too much. It's too much in the throat, and there needs to be a little bit more warmness. And I think it just takes time. I mean, if you watch some of the earliest Mickey Mouse cartoons, when the new guy took over, he didn't really get into the swing of it. And even Steve Whitmire, if you watch the Muppet Christmas Carol, he wasn't fully into Kermit yet. It takes time. So I'm going to give this guy the benefit of the doubt. I mean, obviously Kermit the Frog is such an iconic and amazing character. I just hope that he was the right choice to take on this iconic, it's a big shoes to fill.
Yeah. Have you heard
Anyway.
anything, Vinny, from the new Kermit?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay. But
I'm purposely trying to not get into another thing like that.
yeah, Vinny has his own Kermit voice. He does. So
Yeah, let's not start with that, please.
he gets
It'll
trapped
be
in
over.
it.
I won't be able to turn it off for the rest of the podcast, and
Yeah,
we don't want.
That's the only thing that happens. But yeah, this new guy, it sounds like I don't know. His voice sounds like he's doing an impression of Kermit more
Right.
than
Right.
being Kermit or making it
Right.
his own. So
Exactly. And I'm totally fine with somebody changing it, but making it their own, because you can tell that the personality of the person's behind it. But you can really tell, and it's very distracting when somebody's doing an impersonation. And that's the issue, because it's then very scripted. And these characters are anything but scripted. A lot of the humor comes from things that they just think of on the spot, and that's what makes the Muppets the Muppets. So, like I was saying, I mean, we've only seen they did the Muppets Take the Bull, the Muppets Take the they're doing that huge tour, and I heard some of his singing capabilities. He can do Rainbow Connection very well, and then they did those little Muppet 10-second spots on Instagram and Twitter. And that was my worrisome. That's where I was like, oh no, this Kermit seems a little too scripted for me. Yeah, thank you for sending me the link. I'm gonna have to check it out. But yeah, so let's move from the Muppets though, because this is not the Muppet podcast.
Yeah, we'll be here all night if we don't move on from it right now.
Right. So there was, and I'll just I'll just keep going with this. There was a lot of movies that were announced at D23. I think we should save The Rise of Skywalker for last, because I think there's a little bit more to talk about there.
yeah.
But in terms of main studio Disney Productions, there is a live action Cruella movie. It's going to be a prequel, so to speak. It's not a prequel to the live action from the 90s, but just a telling of how Cruella became Cruella de Vil, basically. Emma Stone is playing the iconic character. They and then was Emma Thompson's going to be in the movie as well?
I think.
I'm assuming it's kind of like a Devil Wears Prada thing. She's going to be kind of like the Meryl Streep character. What do you guys think about this? And is this movie necessary?
I don't think it's necessary,
No,
Right.
not really.
but I just hope they just do it right. I mean, that's all we can really hope for, is if they do it justice. But
Well, let me ask you guys this. What do you guys think about the live action 101 Dalmatians from the 90s?
God, I haven't seen those in forever.
I
it's
don't
been a
believe I've
while.
seen it.
It's okay. So I would argue that it's a very good adaptation, and it adds a lot to the what was already established in the animated film. It's faithful, but it adds, like I was saying, its own little flair. And Glenn Close, who plays the character, did an amazing job. So I already, in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, there already was 101 Dalmatians. why do we need to see a prequel played by Emma Stone, essentially? My first question before I saw the image was, why are they going to make a 101 Dalmatian movie without Dalmatians in it? But in the image shown, she's walking 3 puppies, which is really interesting. And I am kind of curious how they're going to make this all work. I mean, Maleficent was kind of like a retelling of Sleeping Beauty, and it worked for the most part. I really enjoyed the first one, and I'm curious to see how this new one is. So I think they're trying to follow suit. I've kind of noticed with these Disney live actions, there's kind of 3 different versions or ways they do it. They either do the Maleficent Dumbo route, where they very loosely reference the animated movie and then tell a completely different story. And I feel like Cruella's doing that. And then there's like, they kind of follow the story, but then they change some things around. That's kind of Aladdin or Mulan. And then there's the like shot for shot remake, which is The Lion King, and what else has been out there that was basically shot for shot?
Jungle Book.
Jungle Book, yeah, Jungle Book for the most part. Ironically, both Jon Favreau films.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, I think you brought up a good point. Maybe they'll be doing more of a Maleficent type film with this.
They're gonna probably make her sympathetic.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, oh man, I understand why she's this way.
Yeah, but that was the first thing I pointed out to Matt. I'm like, she has Dalmatians. Like,
right?
Are those ones she captured, or are those her pets?
Right, right. Or was that just for the publicity still? So people are, oh yeah. Oh, the other one I was thinking about was Beauty and the Beast. That was almost shot for shot. They changed a couple things, but yeah. So we'll see what happens there. And I did mention Mulan. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Was anything else talked about Mulan at the D23 Expo?
I heard they showed a clip.
Okay. I did hear that the classic songs were there, but they were orchestrated and incorporated well. So it's not a musical, but the songs are still there in spirit, and I heard it was really well done. So that to me is still at least exciting.
Yeah, because the trailers so far because there's only been one trailer for it.
Correct. Which was very serious.
But it didn't look bad.
No, it looks great. And I'm very excited about Mulan. The one thing I found interesting is at D23, and I do remember this now, a lot of people were saying how humorous it was. And I didn't get that from the first trailer at all. It seemed very serious. It felt like a war film. But apparently it was played up for laughs in the clips that they were showing, but in a good way. It wasn't done in a farce. It was done very organically. So that made me very excited.
Well, that's interesting because I didn't expect that from the first trailer.
Right. Not at all. I mean, the movie that people were talking about at D23 seemed like a completely different film. But that's the balance in Mulan. I mean, there's a lot of heavy moments, obviously. When Shang's father passes away and things like that. But then there are a lot of things that played up for laughs, which again, it really does bug me if you're going to make a movie like that and have these humorous bits. Why not have Mushu in there? Apparently there's a female Phoenix that is the character that replaces Mushu, which I get. They're trying to push more, female empowerment in these films, and that's fine and dandy, but when you have such an iconic character like Mushu, who for many people is the face of this, those films, the 2 Mulan movies, to just not have him in there, and to, at least have it if you're gonna have a female in there, have it be like Mushu, not a Phoenix. Yeah. Like, our Phoenixes, I don't know if you guys know, are they tied to Chinese lore and myth at all?
I'm not sure.
Isn't that more of like a medieval, Eastern European kind of a thing?
I think so. I don't understand. I feel like Mushu as a dragon was tied to the culture a lot more. Right. A lot more. It made more sense to me, but then again, I may be completely wrong. I'm not I don't necessarily know my shit when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Right.
The phoenix comes from Greece and Greek mythology.
Oh, there you go. So
Last time I checked, Greece is not China.
yeah, and I mean, and here's the thing: like, neither was Eddie Murphy is not Chinese, but it worked for the comedic purposes they needed for the film. And if they want to have a female play the role of the psychic animal character or guardian, go for it, but make it a dragon. At least honor that part. It's a phoenix, whatever. But yeah, that's that. So do you guys want to move on to Hercules?
Yeah.
Yep.
I guess that'd be the perfect next step with the live action kind of remake.
Right. So we're gonna have to touch on this a little bit later, but it was very interesting. There was a Little Mermaid panel celebrating the anniversary of the film, and the actress that voices Ariel, her name is Jodie Benson. She was talking and saying that Alan Menken, one of the composers and music writers on the film, couldn't make it to the event, but he had a video. And the reason he couldn't make it out there is because he's working on Hercules. And then a video plays of him. I don't know if you guys are going to be playing the clip at all, but he says, yeah, I'm working on Hercules right now. I'm sorry I couldn't make it. So what's really interesting is there's been a lot of reports and speculation that this movie would be in production, but this all but confirms it. And a lot of people, or myself at least, was questioning why would Disney approve his video message if they haven't officially announced the movie? And then we all started to speculate, well, it seems, and we'll get into that when we get to the theme parks a bit as well, it seems like there was a lot more planned to be shown at D23, but they ultimately decided to change the presentation. Hercules being one of the things that, and there's a lot of other live action films that they didn't touch on that we know are being worked on but aren't official. So it's like, why wouldn't they use D23, the big showcase for Disney, to announce these things? I remember back in 2015 and 2017, they did the big Marvel timeline. They showed the next 4 or 5 years, and they show all the movies. They didn't do that for the Disney live action movies. They didn't. Very surprisingly, and they didn't do that for. I guess they only did that for Marvel. And they did it for Lucasfilm as well, but they didn't do it for the animation movies. They didn't do it for Pixar, and they didn't do it for the main studio. So it's like, well, what's going on? I mean, they've announced things that are coming out in the next year or two, but it's all movies that we knew were already in production. The only new thing was Raya and the Last Dragon, which I guess we can kind of segue into right now. I knew about this because I have a friend who's working on the film, but what did you guys think about this movie?
Awkwafina's in it, so I mean, it makes it cool, I guess.
We touched on this a little bit in the last segment of the episode we recorded last, how Awkwafina's in a lot of things for Disney these days.
Yeah.
She's rumored to be in The Little Mermaid.
Yes.
As Scuttle, right? That's the rumor.
Yeah, that is the rumor, and I'm not too hyped for that. But
see, I was kind of confused. I'm like, wait, why is she playing Scuttle?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That threw me off.
I had that same kind of thing where I wasn't really hyped for it. I heard Awkwafina was going to be in the movie, and I really like her. I think she's funny. So I was happy she was going to be in the movie, but I was kind of a little taken back when I found out she was going to be Scuttle, and I'm like, oh, of all characters you picked, Scuttle.
Well, I mean, that's still a rumor. That's not confirmed.
Yeah.
But she is the character in this new Disney animated feature, Raya and the Last Dragon, which is a movie, I guess, similar to Mulan that's rooted in Oriental culture. And it's about a girl and this dragon. Everything looks great about this movie, except I'm not too hyped about the dragon design. I think it looks like a unicorn. It looks like something that you see at Too Cool or some like tween girl shop. I can already see like the dolls and plushes that are gonna come out with this thing, but it doesn't seem like an official Disney character to me.
So my only question about this
oh
movie.
yeah. Now
is-
I'm looking at the picture that we sent earlier. Yeah, I'm not fond of that either.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was in the movie. I thought it was
That's
something
not.
else.
It doesn't look like a dragon at all.
No, that's the problem.
Yeah, that's that's a no from me, dog.
So is this movie gonna be 2D animated or 3D?
3D. It is
Okay.
3D animated. The
Just
problem that I have with it really is the colorization of it. It just seems off. The hair, it's too human. The eyes are, it's like they didn't know exactly what they wanted to do with this character, and it doesn't give off. Her name's Sisu, or I guess it's Sisu the dragon.
The dragon, yeah.
The problem with it is it doesn't, like, if I looked at that dragon, I'd say like, oh, that's from like some kid show.
Yeah.
It doesn't scream to me like Chinese dragon, and I
It
think
really doesn't.
that's
You want a character that screams Chinese dragon, Mushu.
There you go, right?
And it all loops back to friggin' Mulan and not having the moosh man.
We need the Moosh Man, but here's the thing: the other artwork they came out with, I'm assuming it's the main girl, and she's on some sort of like armadillo like creature.
Yeah.
That looks great, and that gets me excited for the film. So I don't know how to feel about this just yet. I'm not. Aquafina is not my kind of humor, so that's the other thing. I'm not too hyped about her kind of taking the reins for it, but we'll see. And it's always exciting to see what Disney Animation does. Their track record, since Bolt has been fantastic. There's not been a movie that has come out that I haven't liked. But Onward, I'm really mixed on this, and this is very interested to hear your take. I think Joey, you're excited for it. Okay. So you're kind of in on it too, right?
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about it.
Right? Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. So we've heard very little about the film. All we know really is about these two troll brothers by Chris Pratt and Tom Holland.
Which is great casting.
And
they're great.
And they're trying to bring their dad back for a day.
Right.
Full Metal Alchemist.
So I guess in the clip they showed, they're trying to bring their dad back with this staff, and the gem cracks, so only the dad's bottom half comes back. I guess
it's kind of like a Weekend at Bernie's kind of a thing, where like he's not all there, so they have to go and search for a spell or something like that. Is that what the story is?
Yeah. So it's
to bring
like
the other half back.
I don't know. It's interesting, but I don't know how to feel about it. Like, I know I'll probably love it when I go and see it in the movies, but just right now,
That's usually how it goes.
Because, like, that's how Coco was for me. I had no interest in seeing Coco. I went and saw it, and it's, like, one of my favorite Pixar movies. So
I would argue it's my favorite Pixar movie. And here's the thing with Pixar. I feel like they don't know how to market their films at all. I remember as a kid, I saw the first trailer for Monsters, Inc. I didn't want to see it. I thought it looked dumb. Amazing movie. Same thing with Cars. The first Cars, I saw the trailer for that, and I'm like, how is this going to work? I was a kid, and I really enjoyed the first Cars. So the thing is, though, it just seems so generic and safe, and I think that's where it just doesn't have that Pixar feel. But then again, I haven't seen the movie. I mean, let's say. It kind of reminds me of Zootopia a little bit, but just like with a different, like, oh, instead of animals, it's going to be a world with fairy tale characters.
Yes.
It feels if Disney came out with this, I'd be like, oh, okay, I can see that. That's kind of like in their ballpark. But Pixar just seems a little like off-brand. It also doesn't help that the Tom Holland's character looks exactly like another character that he's voicing in I think, is it a Blue Sky Studio movie? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
the Bird Spy one or whatever.
The Fly or whatever. I don't remember what it's called, but That movie actually looks good too. That's now a
But
Disney movie, right? But
no,
yeah.
it's not. But it's
Well,
the main character looks
yeah.
exactly the same. It's just the pigment of skin is in blue.
Yeah.
And it's throwing me off. And it's like I wish the design for him was a little bit different. The Chris Pratt character looks cool though. So we'll see. I don't know how to feel about this movie. And then we have Soul, which
Yeah. Oh, I just threw the image in, I think. Yeah, at the bottom. There's the character design.
mhm, which is almost like an Inside Out 2.
Yeah, which I think this one sounds more interesting of the two.
Absolutely. This feels Pixar.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like you're right. Onward, they're playing too close to home. They're trying to make it feel more Disney. But with Soul, it feels like they're going a little bit more Pixar with it. Going a little bit out there.
Right.
But
Onward feels more like modern animated studio, like kind of this run-of-the-mill generic stuff that like Blue Sky or any of these other studios would kind of rip out. But that's not what Pixar does. You know, they have a very unique voice, and Soul does. I mean, it's a Pete Docter film. I mean, you can't go wrong with Pete Docter. He's made some of the most iconic movies at the studio. But again, his last movie was Inside Out, and this seems, to me at least, way too similar. So how is this going to be different from Inside Out? I'm really curious.
well, I think the thing that's different, right, is with Inside Out we had the characters of like joy and sadness. Inside, what was her name? I'm blanking. What was the little girl's name?
Danny DeVito?
Yep, Danny DeVito.
Mhm.
So we had joy and sadness, and Danny DeVito said.
Yeah.
But in this one, it seems like the character is becoming his soul and kind of going soul searching.
That's so crazy.
So
They'll pull it off, but that seems so crazy to me.
yeah, and like the art style they showed for like the backgrounds and stuff looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know, this seems more of their passion project out of the two.
Right. It seems like this is the one they're kind of taking a risk on, whereas the other one they're like, okay, we know we're gonna make our money back. It's gonna be a big cash grab, and you know, it might surprise some people. I think it's gonna be a good movie. Onward is just the one that I'm not too hyped for, and it's gonna be a gamble. We did skip over Frozen 2, which is a Disney animated feature that's coming out this year. A couple characters were announced, and that was it as far as I can remember. I guess they talk a little. There's a clip showed with the parents in a flashback, and there's a possibility that both of them also had powers at some point, or they still did. And I guess the story is going to be talking about why they left on the ship in the first movie, that there was actual purpose of why they left the kingdom, and they're going somewhere to find answers.
Yeah, so the thing that's throwing me off about this is they recast the mom.
Right.
Which I don't get why.
Well, I'm assuming that in the original movie, did she even have a speaking part? Like she maybe said one or two lines.
Yeah, so it might not be that big of a...
Right, and I think this time she's an actual character, and I think that the role maybe required a little bit more of the character, you know, of the voice actress. So I think that they needed to recast it, which I mean that's fine. I don't really care. It's you know, I'm not too crazy about Frozen, but we'll see what happens. It seems cool. I like the first trailer. You know, the Breath of the Wild Frozen trailer.
I wonder how like it seems like maybe all these powers that are kind of being hinted at in the trailer might be just coming from Elsa.
All of them are?
Yeah. Like, so maybe she has more than ice powers. Since she was kind of holding it in the whole time, maybe since she's been using it a bit more, she's now unleashing these new powers of, like, fall and... I don't know.
Oh, so she goes through cycles and she can go through all the seasons.
Yeah. So, like, maybe that's what they'll touch on, and, like, I don't know, maybe she is cursed, or Who knows? But
Maybe she's just a poorly written character. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeesh, wow.
no, she's okay. Here's the thing: Frozen 2 is not a bad movie. Or Frozen is not a bad movie. It was just so overhyped, and I didn't understand why that got so much praise when there's some amazing movies that were released before and after it. Like I think Moana is a much stronger movie. I think Tangled is a much stronger movie.
That I thought when Moana came out, I thought it was a lot better. Probably because I'd seen Frozen at least 5 times at that point, probably more than that, and I was already sick of it like by the second viewing.
Right.
So it was just nice to have something else to throw my love towards.
Right. I mean, I saw that movie with a group of people, and I remember walking out of the theater, and the thing we talked about was Get a Horse, the Mickey Mouse short.
Was great.
It was amazing. And you know that there's something wrong with the movie when people are talking about the cartoon short rather than the actual movie.
Yeah.
And then remember with Coco, they had the Olaf short in front of it.
They had the
and then
20 minute Olaf short, and everyone got pissed off.
Yeah. So one movie that we did not touch on that I do remember they showed off was the Jungle Cruise.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So The Rock came out on an actual Jungle Cruise, and he greeted the crowd, and then Emily Blunt came out, and apparently they kept joking that she is the true star of the movie, that she's going to steal the show, which is probably going to happen. But they're really trying to build this up as like their next big Pirates of the Caribbean series. And I don't see that. I you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
The footage, they said it's kind of like The Mummy meets Romancing the Stone meets Jumanji. And here's the thing with The Rock that's really interesting to me is that he's a huge actor. He's a huge personality. There's no denying that. But in terms of box office numbers, he's really a hit or miss. Like Moana did very good, but it wasn't Frozen numbers. Baywatch flopped. Rampage flopped. Hobbs and Shaw did okay, but it was the weakest of the series in terms of what it brought in. So The Rock, while he's a great actor and he's appeared in huge movies, in terms of numbers, he's not that big of a draw. I mean, like when he's in an ensemble with a bunch of other people, it tends to do better, like Jumanji or the rest of the Fast and the Furious movies. But I'm really curious to see like why they're really trying to push this Jungle Cruise movies like Pirates of the Caribbean, which that's $1 billion franchise. So what is going to be shown in this movie? I'm very curious. And if they really think this is going to be a franchise, it better be damn good.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to feel about it yet. Because I remember when they started filming it, over a year ago?
Right.
So, like, maybe early 2018, late 2017?
Mm-hmm.
So
that's around the time.
I was like, oh, maybe it got scrapped or something. But
right.
Yeah, I don't know. I need to see something. I need to see something about this film to be excited for it. Because I have no feeling of what it's going to be like. I know you just said a couple things, but I'm just like, I need to see it, But The Rock seems to play the same character and everything.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I feel like basically he's like kind of like in like a lot of jungle type movies, Jumanji, so it's going to confuse audiences and whatnot.
Well, did you see there's a picture of him wearing the same khaki shirt in Rampage, in the both Jumanji movies, and then in all the press photos for the Jungle Cruise? And he doesn't change anything about his appearance because he doesn't have to. I mean, he's like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Stallone. He is The Rock. He's a personality.
Yeah.
And I love him in his films. He's amazing. I love The Rock. And I'm going to see this movie, and I'm that much more excited to see it because he's in it. But we've seen this character already so many times. So what is going to make this movie unique? And, I'm really curious how the score is going to be. If this ends up being successful, are they going to change the Jungle Cruise in the theme parks.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys remember the original idea for the Jungle Cruise, the movie?
No,
I didn't even know it was gonna be a movie until you brought it up.
well,
Okay.
They've been writing it since like what?
2002.
2000. Yeah.
So there was they wrote a treatment around the same time as Pirates of the Caribbean, the original. And then when Pirates was a success, all of a sudden Disney was like, okay, we got to keep really milking this. Let's make our theme park rides movies. So they did Country Bears. They were going to make a Big Thunder Mountain movie. They were going to make an Everest, a Matterhorn, Space Mountain, which that script was insane. I have my hands on that one. We should definitely talk about that one day. But
yeah.
The Jungle Cruise originally was going to star Tom Hanks as the skipper, and it was going to be Tim Allen as Ned. Is that his name? The guy with the mustache, the character. He's like the Professor Safari guy. Is that his name? Ned?
Nah, I don't friggin' know.
I am.
You know what I'm talking about? At Disney World. So here they have the witch doctor guy at the end of the right, and he's with Baby Elephant. And then at the Disney World version, there's a character named like Ned. He looks like Jane Foster's father.
See, that's why we've never been to Disney World. So
okay,
we kind of need to.
I could be incorrect with the name, but Tim Allen was supposed to play that. So it's supposed to be basically Woody and Buzz on the Jungle Cruise.
That'd be cool.
And there was supposed to be like a comedy, and it's supposed to be very corny, just like the ride with the humor and stuff. So but now it seems like they're trying to go more of high budget action film. It's like, okay,
we're gonna get a giant fight behind the backside of water.
That's gonna probably be a huge set piece.
Yep. It's gonna be a giant waterfall.
It has to be the backside of water. It can't not be.
Did any of you guys see Pirates of the Caribbean 5?
Yeah.
That's the newest one, right?
Correct. So at the end, the water splits down the middle, Moses style. There was actually a deleted scene where Jack Sparrow goes up against the water and he goes, "Oh, look, it's the backside of water."
Oh, that'd be great.
I was very upset that they cut that out of the film because I thought that was a nice little nod to the Jungle Cruise.
Why do they do that? Why do they cut stuff like that?
That movie got so butchered. There were so many cool scenes that I think would have made that movie that much stronger. And I can definitely talk about that because I have the original shooting script. I have the novel and then the deleted scenes that they, chose to show on the DVD and Blu-ray. There's a lot of that in that film that when you watch it, you're like, okay, I can see where they cut this, they cut that. Oh, this character's, their motive doesn't make sense, but clearly they had it written out here. Okay, it makes sense to me now. So when I watch that movie, I enjoy it because I'm a Pirates fan, but I also enjoy it on an extra level because I know what that movie was supposed to be and I understand the motives of certain characters. But if you just watch that movie cold, you're like, why is this character acting so weird and they're not acting like themselves? And why does this happen? That's another rant I'm not going to go into. I feel like I'm talking too much, but that was the higher ups at Disney saying, "Oh, let's just trim it down. Let's do this. Let's do that." That's when you let the people in charge of the money make the creative decisions. That's what happens.
I'm just hoping this Jungle Cruise movie is going to be more comedy based, and just,
it needs to be.
It needs to just take a hard turn into that.
Yeah.
And
it needs to
do it right. And then if we ever get the Guillermo del Toro freaking Haunted Mansion movie, which we'll never
I was about to bring that up. I was gonna ask if that was gonna be a thing if they want to make the rides into movies because I want to see that.
See, I think his thing was more. It wasn't like the Eddie Murphy movie approach where they try to add their own little twist on it. He was going to stay very faithful to the lore of the ride itself, and he was going to talk more about. I think the first movie kind of delved into the whole bride and Mr. Gracie, who was the man who hung himself. They were gonna tackle the Hatbox Ghost as the main character, which the rumored casting that Del Toro wanted for the Hatbox Ghost was Johnny Depp. But that was like that was a while ago.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So hopefully they'll make it one day soon. But
yeah, I mean, who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But I guess let's get on to the final topic of the movies panel, which was what, Rise of Skywalker?
Rise of Skywalker, yeah. Did everybody see that clip that they showed on Monday?
Did you see it, Vinny?
I'm gonna give you one guess.
No. Vinny?
Yeah, exactly. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Matt, have you seen it?
Matt?
Matt dead again?
I think he's
Somebody
dead.
pull his string. He's not talking.
I'm very sure Matt saw it too. So
Well, okay, so I mean, not too much was shown that wasn't in the first trailer.
Yeah.
Well, what did you think of it?
I'm more excited for it than I was with the first trailer.
Mm-hmm.
So everything they kind of teased with like just these little clips they put in is like, okay, this is interesting.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, now you're back. We're talking about Skywalker.
Fucking finally.
So I don't know. The C-3PO with the red eyes is throwing me off because
I think
what's going on with that?
Well, if you've seen the poster they put out a poster where he's holding the bowcaster.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm thinking is the red eyes is like a new mode where maybe it's like he's downloading a new function. That's just my initial thought.
So I heard that his like inhibitor chip was switched with a battle droid, and he just goes into like this. I guess it would remind me of the end of Iron Giant when the Iron Giant goes nuts. C-3PO just goes into full battle mode, which go for it. That's cool.
People.
That's fine
Honestly,
with me.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, right?
C-3PO kills off half the cast.
I'm fine with it. It's like it's kind of like what they did.
Why not?
They did that kind of in Attack of the Clones when he switched heads with a battle droid.
Mm-hmm.
But just don't put the corny like, oh, this is such a drag, like little stupid jokes like that, and it can be cool,
But also there's the Dark Ray, which people think is just fake footage. Like, nope, it's not going to be in the film.
Well, didn't Disney flat out say that was a vision? I think they accidentally leaked that, or they didn't leak it, but they said it in one press that, oh, this is a vision of Rey, which some people are saying, okay, well, it's like when Luke saw Vader in the Dagobah cave. Some people are saying, well, maybe she's battling herself, and it's like a vision of who she could become. There's many twists and turns. I actually really like that lightsaber, and cool. I hope they sell that as like a nice version of like they sell at the parks. One of the higher end collectibles. That thing looks so cool.
I'd like to think it's not a vision. My mind would want it to be a clone. Like, I'd like to see a clone. I think a vision is playing it safe, where a clone could be interesting. But I think Disney is scared, so they'll go with the vision route.
Right.
But I'd be all in for like a clone that Rey's this whole time has just been a clone under some factory where the Palpatine was kind of just creating this whole clone army. When he dies, he could transfer himself. That's kind of what I'm hoping. I don't think that will happen, but who knows?
There's so many theories. There's a couple interesting things. There was a clone thing. There was a thing that said that Rey the entire time is a clone, and she has one of those chips in her brain that Palpatine can just switch on, just like Order 66. So she could just all of a sudden become like a prop and a puppet to Palpatine's will. But there's a couple interesting things. They did mention that the Sith troopers were like trained in the dark arts.
And then you see the Star Destroyers, right?
The original Star Destroyers,
Yeah.
not the First Order. That's the Empire. So there's a whole army
whole
and
fleet. Like, holy shit.
whole fleet, and all of them have like, you know, these Sith troopers in the red armor. I saw this one interesting theory though, that what if Rey is the base? So they did in Attack of the Clones, they made the clone army based on Jango Fett's DNA.
Mm.
So what if the rumor is that Rey was basically created using the midichlorians of Anakin Skywalker, Palpatine, and Luke Skywalker.
Oh God.
And
Fuck.
you know, like, so she was like basically like a test tube baby with the Force, and then they used her as like the host, and then they made a new clone army, and then they are the ones, like, there's a bunch of Rey clones in the Sith trooper armor, and that's the new, like, basically think of the clone troopers, but clone troopers with like Force powers.
That would be insane. And that
Mm,
I
that's
hope
what she's
My
talking
head
at.
is hurting just listening to this.
I hope they go full on crazy for this movie. They should not play it safe.
No,
If they want to
shouldn't.
please the fans, they need to go batshit crazy.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how you guys feel about The Last Jedi. I you know, I'm very mixed on it. When I first saw it, I loved it, and then as time went on and I viewed it again, I kind of saw the narrative of like the sequel trilogy as a trilogy. It especially with where they're going now, The Last Jedi to me stands out so much, and I wish that this movie was the middle movie, because it seems like there's so much that they could introduce. Like, example really quick, after I saw The Last Jedi, I didn't have any questions. I was like, that felt like a complete story, a beginning, middle, and end, and then there's nothing else I'm really wondering outside of this. After I saw The Force Awakens, everybody had their theories about the Snoke theories, who's Rey's parents, you know, what's going to happen when she meets Luke, all these things. But after The Last Jedi, like, it just seems so, like, done. Oh, we're going to rebuild the rebellion. That's kind of it. Rey doesn't have her parents. Snoke's dead. That's it. But this movie, even just from 2 trailers, I have so many questions. And I wish J.J. Abrams just directed the entire trilogy instead of the first and the third.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys feel about that.
So when I saw The Last Jedi with my uncle and family, we got out of the film. He's like, "Wow, that was great." And I'm like, "I didn't like it."
Mm.
Like, something felt off,
Right.
you know. And I like how you pointed out, there was no buzz going off of this movie.
Well,
It
off
was-
of Last Jedi?
Yeah, off of Last
It
Jedi.
was hate mostly. The Force Awakens, people were like speculating and having their theories. After Last Jedi, it was just like, let's shit on this
Yeah,
as much as we can.
because there was nothing to talk about. It was
Right.
just the movie. There's nothing in the future that we could see and be like, "Ooh, what about this?" It was just
Yeah.
like, well, he kind of killed everything off right now that we had
Right.
wondering, and what else is there left?
Right.
So,
And this movie feels more, I mean, it's going to be a conclusion, and J.J. Abrams, you know, he's apparently retconning a lot of the things that were in The Last Jedi. But it makes me wonder what J.J. had originally written for the second movie in that trilogy, because he wrote a treatment and then Rian Johnson just threw it away, and he's like, all right, I'm going to do my own thing.
which I don't
So-
get. That's the only thing I don't get. It's like, why would you do that?
Well, that's the problem, is that when you make a trilogy, if you're going to make a trilogy, you need to have a story in mind of, you know, what's going to be the beginning, middle, and end. You don't just do it, you know, okay, well, let's just hand it off to the next guy and he can tell his story, and then we'll hand it off to the next guy and he can tell his story. So that was the problem. So it obviously it's gonna be like one big story, yes, but it could have been so much stronger. And I think I'm not, after the first movie, I was like, oh yeah, Finn and Poe are so cool. I love Rey. And then after the second movie, I was like, I don't really care about Poe. I don't really care about Finn. Like, their characters were reduced so much, and they weren't the same characters. They were played so differently.
And they were split apart the whole film too.
The whole film, and they didn't, you know, like, Poe was so, like, he was such like a cool character in the first movie. Like, right away, he's like, you know, you like him, and then he became really whiny, and then like Finn went off on an adventure that led to nothing. I don't get me started on Roast Tico. You know, it was, I don't know, but I don't want to bash The Last Jedi. There are some cool scenes like the Yoda scene, which is like, it was good. And the throne room scene is okay, but yeah, anyway. I love Star Wars.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I have to head out.
Alrighty.
So I'll talk to you all soon.
Take care, dude.
Bye.
Later, Matt.
I just realized my mic was muted.
The entire time?
Just a little, just for like the last 5 minutes.
Okay.
But
so let's move on from Rise of Skywalker. I feel like this movie's gonna be very good. Specifically because the Emperor is gonna be in it. I'm really curious how they're gonna handle Carrie Fisher. You can see that they kind of manipulated some of the scenes they shot for Force Awakens. There's like the one shot where she's looking like directly at the camera, and that is they digitally kind of modified that a little bit. And what they're going to do with Luke, I hope Luke like has a slightly bigger presence. I am very excited. I hope that Anakin's in it. There needs to be a Force ghost of Anakin somewhere in this movie. That was an original idea for Force Awakens. But it looks great. The battle that they're having on the Death Star wreckage looks amazing. And it looks like I think the most incredible and visually stunning lightsaber battle that's been in the sequel trilogy. But talking about Star Wars, let's move on to the theme parks. There was the Rise of the Resistance, which is the big e-ticket attraction that's going to be at Galaxy's Edge, opening December 5 at Disney World's Hollywood Studios, and I believe January 12th at Disneyland. Am I right? 12th?
I believe so.
Sometime in January.
Yeah.
This ride is enormous. Has some of they say it's the most technologically advanced ride they've ever done at Disney Imagineering, and apparently ever that's been ever put into a theme park. It has animatronics. It has holograms. It has projections.
Real actors too, right?
Real actors, yeah. Apparently, I'm getting kind of. Do you guys know about the Great Movie Ride at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, which featured live actors in it. This ride is apparently 3 ride systems in one. There's the walkthrough portion where you're basically walking from car to car. There's basically the dark ride version when you're in the cart, and then it loads onto a lift, and then there's a free fall drop, which is supposed to give you the sensation that you're in an escape pod and you're going from a shuttle back to Batuu. This sounds amazing. And
okay, yeah,
what do you guys think about it?
Really cool.
This was the ride I was hoping opened with Galaxy's Edge. This is the one I've been waiting for. I've been on the Millennium Falcon now. It's cool. But it's just Star Tours 2.0, and I'd rather have this. So I want it sooner than later, but at least we're getting it in January, hopefully.
So you don't have to wait too long for it.
Yeah.
No, and here's the thing: like Smuggler's Run is an amazing attraction. The line and the just the room sitting in the cockpit is amazing. If this was the only ride they had at Galaxy's Edge, I would be upset. But because I know that this attraction is like it's like this is like little brother attraction, like this is like part 2. This you know, it's like this is the big one, like you were saying. And from all the images and all the footage that they've shown, it just looks so stunning. And I hope that both of you guys can come down and ride this thing with me when it opens up.
Considering when it opens up, I might be able to swing that.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
I would be down to come down and we can go hang out and do that. Hopefully.
Well, the other thing is the Star Wars hotel, which looks stunning, and it looks like you can book it for 2 days. I was really curious how that would be handled if you can book it for like a week. but they're treating it almost like it's like a cruise where they have a set amount of days and you pay one price and you then basically live on this thing. You don't leave it. You stay in the ship like you're in an actual cruise, which is really cool. I know there's some concern and there's been some rumors about how much the 2 days would be, but it looks visually stunning and it's something that I hope to experience one day. What do you guys think about this?
I think the experience looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
With the rumored prices that came out for it, I don't think I'll ever be able to do it, but it is cool. I like the train like a cruise ship. Right.
Let me ask you a quick question. What did you hear for in terms of pricing? Because I'm about to. Okay, just what did you hear about pricing?
I heard like 1,000 something
for the 2 days, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it seems like that's a lot, right? But consider this: when you go to Disney World during peak season, which is like July and August, like it's just in the summer. If you want to stay at one of the deluxe resorts, a one stateroom could be anywhere between $500 to $800 a night. So when considering that this is like a whole immersive experience, they give you clothes. I think it includes like food. It's just like a cruise line where everything's inclusive, and it's for 2 days. So when you really think about it, it's like $500 a day. It's not that bad.
Yeah, when you just said what you said about Disney World, yeah, it really isn't that bad when you chuck all that into perspective. Yeah.
Right. And I'm not trying to justify like, oh, well, it's $500 is not a lot of money, but it's a full on experience. It's like being part of like an escape room or watching like a Broadway, a play. $500. Yeah, it is expensive and it's going to cost a lot of money to go and experience this. And it's probably going to be very booked the first couple of years. But considering what has been the prices for the hotels since forever, it's not that much.
Yeah, you really helped me think about that because I wasn't even thinking about the normal hotels. I was like,
and those are just rooms.
Yeah,
those you get a themed room, and you might, some of the resorts might have Disney transportation other than the buses. I know the Contemporary Resort during peak season could be $750 to $800, $900 a night in August or July, and which is one of my favorite hotels. Don't get me wrong, but that is what they're asking for. So, just keep things in perspective.
Yeah.
But we have a new perspective on the Marvel campus or the Avengers campus. What is it called? Marvel campus or Avengers campus?
Avengers campus, because they
Avengers
can't
campus.
use Marvel.
Correct. So this is going to be at DCA, Paris, and Hong Kong, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So why don't you talk a little bit about that? Because I know you're a big Spider-Man guy.
So, basically, we've known about this Marvel Land coming for what, 2 years now?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like us three talked about it 2 years ago, like right after D23. But basically, we've known something was coming. We got the announcement maybe late to mid last year about it. And now we finally got the confirmation of what we're getting. So we're getting a Spider-Man ride called Web. And it seems to be more of a Midway Mania shooter.
But it looks like it's a mixture of 3D technologies and AR.
Which is awesome.
Augmented reality, which is awesome because they're not using guns. They're actually shooting web from the wrists.
Yeah, which that excites me. It's like, okay, cool. There's no guns. It's you literally pointing your wrists and just shooting webs. So that's cool. That adds something totally different that people weren't expecting. But yeah, we got that. We got the Ant-Man and the Wasp test kitchen, the PIM test kitchen that they're doing, where it's like big food, small food. Which, that's just going to be a cool place to eat, I feel.
Yeah.
And then we got the Doctor Strange show that will be happening over at the little destroyed sanctum area they have. And then we have a Avengers e-ticket attraction coming. This is the thing we barely know anything about. They said it's going to be new technology. I think they said it's a new ride system. I don't know if I'm correct about that. But they said it's a new...
They did say, and they also patented something some people are speculating it's going to be somewhat similar, but more advanced, kind of like a combination between Flight of Passage at Pandora and also the Harry Potter attraction. I forget the name of the attraction there, where you feel like you're on a broomstick. But this, you can see in the image, the Avengers are fighting. I don't know, is it the Thanos' army? Or
I heard they're called the Brood.
The Brood, okay, and it's in Wakanda.
Yeah.
And you can see, the guests, they're like on these floating chairs. So it leads you to believe, one, I mean, they're free flying, so they're not like next to each other. Like, so like you are on your own path, which is very interesting.
Oh, there he is.
Sorry.
What also is interesting, I don't know how close they're going to keep this with the timeline, because you can see Iron Man's there. Hulk is Hulk. He's not Professor Hulk.
Yeah.
And then Captain Marvel's there. So they're just kind of making an attraction that's just like Avengers,
Yeah. I mean, they were saying this takes place after Thanos, but let's just say alternate reality, alternate timeline where no one died. So,
right.
Because you can see Cap there. You can see... So don't take this as canon. Just
enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is fine by me. I don't try to connect the theme park experiences with the films. The thing I'm most curious about, with all this talk about where Spider-Man's going to go, and if all these rumors, and is this how it's going to end up playing out? Let's say hypothetically that Spider-Man 100% goes back to Sony. They don't make anything else under the guidance of the MCU. In the show preview, they show in the beginning of Web, Spider-Man looks to be talking to the audience.
Yeah.
And he's talking about the technology and the little spider bots. Are they going to have Tom Holland's voice Spider-Man, or are they just going to have us sound alike and just kind of do their thing with it?
Okay, that was my
question. It is a masked Spider-Man. So are they going to... One, is it going to be animatronic, kind of like Rocket Raccoon? Or is it just going to be kind of like a screen? And two... are they going to do sound alike, or is it going to really be Tom? I know Tom would probably be so down for it. Yeah. And I don't know, because
they may have recorded it already.
He may have recorded it already, yes. And then also the thing is, this is theme park and it's not film rights. So it's like a weird gray area. They own because this is a character that is featured in those films. Does it fall under that? Like, this is the film character, therefore you cannot use it because we own the rights to it? Or is it because this is not a quote unquote film, it's an attraction? Sony doesn't have a say in how the character is used.
Yeah.
Or was this already a deal that was in place before the split and they've already signed off on it and everything's fine?
Well, that's the thing, right? So, for most of these attractions, the MCU counterparts have come back and done it. Like Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly.
Guardians cast.
The Guardians. The only one who hasn't come back is Robert Downey.
Right.
He's probably too expensive. But they tried getting a sound alike. And
I think they get wasn't it just a voice actor from the cartoon show?
I think so, yeah.
Right.
Which, I mean, he does a really good job anyway.
Yeah, he's fine.
It just sucks you can't see, like, the mask go up and it's Robert. But
right, which would be awesome.
But, yeah, that was my immediate question when we got the reveal. I'm like, wait, are we going to have Tom as Spider-Man?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it going to be just the one they used for the merchandise guy? With the weird, like, old, I don't know, early 2000s Spider-Man cartoon voice where it's like, no, I don't want that. I want Tom. But...
Right. And I think they're going to try to keep it as close as they can to the MCU, because this whole area is very MCU inspired. It's not just like Marvel.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I know we're running a little long on time here. We will be soon. So I just want to jump a little bit. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about with the Marvel campus?
I don't.
One thing I noticed. So in the original concept art, they had the New York Sanctum.
Yeah.
And do you think that... I have two questions for you. Number one, Do you think that they scrapped the New York Sanctum because this is not supposed to be New York? It's supposed to be like a campus. So they're like, okay, well, we have to make it something unique. Or two, do you think they ran out of budget? They're trying to keep the budget low and use the money elsewhere. And they're like, okay, well, we're just going to make this like a demolished sanctum, and it's a much smaller area.
See, I feel like maybe it's a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, we are running out of budget, but wouldn't it be cool if we did something a little bit different since this isn't supposed to be New York and there's only supposedly so many certain sanctums around the world? So this one's a lost one. So maybe it got destroyed in a battle at one point.
And that's cool to me. That's awesome. Yeah, that's fine. I remember the original artwork and that wasn't
the
it.
full building, yeah. So,
correct, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff from the original concept that got changed, but I like everything they changed.
Yeah, that's always the case. I mean, I remember when we all appeared in a podcast, we were talking about the soda bottle that was from the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
That was no longer featured.
They had it at didn't they have it at D23? I mean, they didn't have the giant can, but like they
was that the one from the Hulk movie?
I think so.
Oh,
I have to look at pictures again.
Then I'm wrong. Yeah. If you find a picture of it, I remember. I think I remember looking at it and being like, it's different, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, it might have been different. I'm not sure, but
let's jump over to Toontown really quick. Nothing too crazy. The Mickey Railway attraction that's going to be at the Hollywood Studios is also coming to Toontown, and they are building a new show building over there. It's called the El Capitan Theater, where the queue is going to feature different memorabilia and props from various Mickey Mouse cartoons. Very straightforward. From what I've heard from a few insiders, is that they're going to be redoing not only the show building, but they're going to be redoing a lot of Toontown to more reflect the Mickey Mouse cartoons. The mountains and hills that make up the Toontown facade are going to be redone and given depth. Because what they have currently is very temporary, and they had just left it up there for almost 30-something years. And the other rumor is that, and they didn't say this at the show, but apparently Roger Rabbit's Toontown Spin is going to be getting the axe, which that's one attraction that I don't miss. I wouldn't miss. But maybe you guys feel differently.
Okay, so I wanted to point this out.
I literally have both my fists raised in the air right now. I went on a rant about that ride too, and thank God.
In favor of it, or
no, against it, like heavy against it.
Yeah, he wanted Roger Rabbit gone. So
I've wanted Roger Rabbit gone for a long time.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, so the art they showed, right? Because they've been saying, oh, it's going to be where the gift shop is.
Right.
This art does not look like where the gift shop is, or where the gift shop is. This looks left of Mickey's house. Does it? Or am I just off?
Left of his house?
Yeah.
No. This is going to be where the Roger is.
Oh, this is where Roger Rabbit is?
Yes, and I don't know if you guys are too familiar of how that area is situated, but behind those mountains is where casting is. There's cast member buildings, and there's a huge, almost like a hallway walk area that they're going to be utilizing and kind of building out for this attraction. They're going to be reconfiguring some things for the cast members back there, so they're going to really try to redo this whole space over there. That's against the wall. I'm all for this. I to be honest though, I think that this would fit beautifully at DCA in the Hollywood area.
It would.
And they can make that whole little Mickey Mouse, classic cartoon land. I would honestly prefer them to bulldozer Toontown and maybe build a Fantasyland expansion. Some of the things they did at the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World, some of the things they're planning for Tokyo with the Frozen and Peter Pan attractions, they just look so stunning that I feel like Walt Disney's Disneyland deserves the same kind of treatment. Toontown just never did it for me, and I was so happy when they decided to bulldoze it at the Magic Kingdom, and they really utilized that space beautifully for Dumbo. But seeing that they're going to be investing money and putting this attraction there, it doesn't seem like Toontown's going to go anywhere anytime soon. But if they can make the area look nicer and more aesthetically pleasing, instead of, to me, it just looks like washed out, painted, sculpted buildings. It seems like the least Disney area of the entire park to me. I don't know if you guys feel the same. It just feels very temporary and very cheap. And honestly, that's what it was intended to be. It was supposed to be very temporary land. Yeah.
I just hope Toontown kind of turns into what the backlot was when it first opened, kind of where you could find more of the newer characters or the cartoon or whatever movie characters kind of just hanging around there. I don't know. I think it'd be cool to kind of do it back there. Toontown, kind of put the tunes back there. So who knows? I hope they kind of do the whole revamp like you were talking about and make it to style. I mean, obviously they want to keep Toontown around for a while if they're throwing that back there. So
yeah, and it feels like they're trying to invest in it. And here's the thing, right? Take out Gadget's coaster. That's a rumor. Put in something with DuckTales. DuckTales is doing so well for Disney right now. Throw in something, make like a little Duckburg.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
Those are some of the rumored things. And there's also, Goof Troop's kind of coming back, and Darkwing Duck. They teased them for the DuckTales, but there's rumors that they're going to get their own spin-off shows. I'm all for that. And then incorporate that into Toontown and don't make it so what it is now. Yeah. But other things that need revamps is Tomorrowland, which is already getting clearly, you go there right now, you can see them taking things down and changing things.
Yeah.
At Magic Kingdom at Disney World, they've been repainting all the buildings to reflect more of the 1970s, 1980s look with the whites and the grays. And they're changing a lot of the signage to reflect a lot of the more retro look. And then at Disneyland, they're taking away the rocks and some of the signage over there. We all speculated that with all this major construction that they would announce Tomorrowland Revamp, especially now that Galaxy's Edge is open and they are planning to move Star Tours over to Galaxy's Edge. The launch bay is gonna clear out, and Astro Blasters is also rumored to be on its way out too. So the Tomorrowland announcement, I thought was from what I'm hearing, I thought, okay, that's definitely going to be something they announce. And just like Hercules, among probably other projects that they just chose not to announce, that was one that they decided to hold on to. What do you guys think about that?
Vinny, you go first.
Oh, God. Okay, where do I start? There are a lot of things that you just said that I was unaware of. So,
such as what?
I figured that Star Tours was going to be uprooted and moved to Galaxy's Edge. That kind of the speculation that Buzz is going to get uprooted though, and just like canned, that came as a shock because I love that.
Okay, but think about this: you got Midway Mania across the street.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
That's
the only thing is you have Midway Mania that's more popular over there. It's essentially doing the same thing, but in ways better. But like, I don't know. It's gonna suck to see it go, because that's how we decided who bought lunch. I kid you not. Whoever lost bought lunch.
Sorry, excuse me. I mean, you look at Galaxy's Edge, and there's, I mean, I don't know if I should tell you guys some of these insider things that I know. Fuck it. So as Christian Mata says, fuck it.
That's his new catchphrase, isn't it?
It's something that I love. I love the way he says it, and I've been saying it too in his honor.
Good.
So where do I start with this? Galaxy's Edge was always built for expansion, or to be expanded. Very similar to how Hogwarts, it seems like every other year there's something new that they're adding there. So there is very conveniently a lot of land. Both you guys have been in the parks, and if those at home listening want to look at a map, near the Rise of the Resistance, across from it you'll see that there are X-wings and an A-wing, and there's just a lot of wooded area to the left and right of it. That area was left blank for future expansion. So one of the things that's rumored, but you can quote me on it, is to uproot Star Tours and put it there. So that's going to be like the new is to uproot. So that's going to with new ride videos that will take you through other parts of the galaxy, but the ride's going to be moved over there. Also, if you look, I don't know if you guys remember this, but if you look at the Millennium Falcon, if you look to the right of it, there's a big, almost looks like a huge cargo door, which is currently used when the ride is overcapacitated. The doors open and there's more lines that they can expand the queue into that area. That area, though, is a blank area, almost, an area that can be utilized, and they're going to use that for the restaurant. There's going to be a sit-down restaurant that's going to take reservations. There is already concept art. If you look up Galaxy's Edge sit-down restaurant, that's what that space is going to be used for. So this is all phase 2, and apparently after the success of the land, and it has been very successful, they've sped up the production of both of those things to move Star Tours and to start the building of the restaurant. There's a rumored third attraction other than Star Tours that's going to be at the land, but they have yet to announce that, or at least I don't know what that is, or the people that I know that work at Disney Imagineering don't know what that is yet too.
That's crazy.
Yeah. One of the things that I guess they're really listening to the people right now. So people that are at the parks, and a lot people love the shopping. They love the atmosphere, but one of the things that people want is more of a sit down eating establishment. So that would obviously be fixed with the restaurant, and then people want to do more things there. Right now, obviously, there's just the one attraction. The other attraction that's going to be opening in January is going to be huge. But to move Star Tours there, it just makes sense. And then to, I mean, there was a scrapped ride. I don't know if you guys saw this, but it was like a big, think of like a Bantha, but...
Oh, yeah, the ride around Animal, right?
Right.
They're going to have.
Mm-hmm. And I wonder if they're going to bring that back or implement that back at the land. We'll see.
Hopefully.
But that's a whole other discussion I can get into. But let's wrap this up with some Epcot talk. Now, neither of you guys have been to Epcot, right?
Nope.
Okay, so I'm going to keep talking. I feel like I took over this episode, guys, and I apologize if you're tired of hearing my voice.
This is Chris's episode.
Very much so. You guys wanted me to be on this show so bad. Now you're never going to. So Epcot was built with it's basically in the shape of an 8. Imagine the northern half of the park. The first circle is the future world, and the bottom half is the World Showcase, which celebrates different cultures and countries around the world. So what they decided to do, because obviously technology is it's advancing every single day, to have something that encapsulates the vision of tomorrow, it gets outdated before you even, have a release date. So they decided to break up the future world into 3 parts that celebrates celebrates nature, and what was the third one?
I remember they were talking about it.
Let me get that. I'll find it. Yeah.
We did.
Okay. I got it. So there's the World Showcase. Then so the future world is going to be World Discovery, World Celebration, and World Nature. And the World Nature is going to have a Moana walkthrough attraction. There's going to be a lot of little areas that are going to get new revamps. That whole area is just going to be completely redone. Almost the whole entire theme park is going to be redone. They have a spaceship dining experience where you're in outer space. They have the Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster attraction. My God, they have a new nighttime spectacular. The main attraction, the icon of the park, Spaceship Earth, is going to be redone with new effects. They have a new, oh goodness gracious, there's a plaza like expo figurehead that's in the middle of the park, basically, where you have vantage points for viewing the nighttime shows. They're adding us a Walt Disney statue that's called the Original Dreamer. I love that so much. It's so beautiful. And then just like the whole garden area that's going to be over there. And what's really great, and the one thing that I love, is they're honoring what Epcot is and what it means, and what people think of when they think of Epcot. But they really took to heart Walt Disney's plans for what Epcot was supposed to be, which was a city of the future, future city, city of tomorrow. And one thing that Walt really wanted to do was to bring families together, to really incorporate technology and nature, to have these parks where families can come together and just, enjoy the earth, and a blending of cultures. And they took a lot of those designs and a lot of what he was trying to create, and they incorporated that in the new designs for Epcot. And it clearly shows. And I haven't heard one person say one negative thing about any of this. And it does look spectacular. And Epcot was definitely one of the parks that needed that TLC. And it definitely seems like they're doing that. So this looks great. And then, they're getting new videos and new updated 360 digital films for China and Canada. France is getting a new Ratatouille ride, which is already being constructed. They're also getting a Beauty and the Beast sing-along attraction. But the one I'm most excited about is the Mary Poppins. Some people are speculating it's going to be a dark ride for England. They're actually recreating Cherry Tree Lane from Mary Poppins. And Dick Van Dyke came out on the D23 showroom floor, and he... they announced this attraction, and it sounds like it's going to be really cool. And to see those streets recreated, which is honestly one of Walt Disney's, masterpieces, is something that I think this is really nice to really honor him. And a lot of people weren't expecting this at all. A lot of people thought that they were going to announce Brazil at the World Showcase, which apparently that's still in the plans, but they didn't. I guess they couldn't secure the okay to announce that at D23. So when they shut the lights and the music started to hit, I thought they were going to bring out like some Brazilian dancers, but no, it was the chimney sweeps from Mary Poppins, and that was probably one of the more shocking things. And one thing I was really caught off guard. And it was also one of the only things that people didn't know prior to the show. It was that and the Dragon movie that Disney is doing. So D23, a lot of cool new things. They elaborated a little bit more on things we already knew, but there wasn't too many new things that were shown this year. But it was still an exciting event. Vinny, I know you weren't there. Joey, I know you were. What did you think about it overall? Let's kind of recap this really quick.
So D23 overall, I enjoyed it. It was enjoyable. I would go back again. So I'm probably going to try and go to the next one. But I don't know. I hope they fix a lot of the stuff, at least with the convention. But the
more technical things, right? More technical things were need to be fixed.
Yeah. But with the announcements and stuff, I enjoyed everything. I wish we heard stuff we haven't heard of before. Like more of it. Like you're saying about the whole Tomorrowland thing. And I don't know. There's stuff we know they're working on, like the live action, the Hercules, the rumored Lilo and Stitch, the Little Mermaid one.
Tarzan is also in production.
Yeah. So like, what, like, why didn't they bother showing it off? But I guess, in 2 years, then they could show it off to tell us when that's coming for the next 2 years. So maybe they want to keep everything kind of close instead of announcing the next 4 years straight off.
And then in the next D23 they have nothing to show because we already know about everything. And I think that was the problem, is that they announced way too much the last 2 times. And then they're like, oh, wait, we have nothing to surprise people with anymore.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't go so big.
Yeah.
But
so it was a great convention. It was a fun time. And like you said, I hope, well, here's what I'll say. I hope all 3 of us can be at the next one.
Yeah, I think Vinny could make the next
all 4 of us. Well, Matt's, he's not here, but we still care.
Matt, we care about you if you're listening.
I'll definitely try a little bit harder to figure it out.
I mean, it'll be in 2 years, so it'll be most likely your last year of college.
No, Vinny's gonna be married and have Vinny's gonna be married and have 2 kids
at 21, at 22. That's funny, bruh.
Are you kidding? That's what's gonna happen.
Chris has told me that too, so. No.
I'm never wrong about these things.
Are you sure?
You're gonna have to buy. You're gonna buy 3 tickets, one for you, your wife, and little Vinny. That's gonna come. But I think children are free. You don't have to buy tickets for them.
Oh, there you go. There's a solution.
You're gonna be I think you're gonna end up having triplets.
Oh God!
And what you need to do. This is what I want you to do. I want you to Disney bound.
Prospect of 1.
You need to Disney bound or cosplay. This is what I need you to do, Vinny. Do this for me.
Oh God!
All right.
Please.
I need you to Disney bound or cosplay as Donald Duck. I need your wife to be Daisy,
sake.
and I need your triplets to be Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Oh, for God's sake!
It's either that, or you have to dress up as Vinny the Pooh. I'll be okay with either. If neither of those, I don't want to see you.
Damn it!
I like Vinny the Pooh now.
Vinny, isn't that great?
Oh, it's great.
One of the things I need to find yellow pants. It's the only issue.
Oh God! All right, guys. Well, this has been a fun podcast. I appreciate you, inviting me. Sorry, I kind of took over, but
yeah, we got a little crisscross takeover today.
You did, free of charge.
Chris,
but let's. Go ahead.
What did you think of D23 before we wrap up? And
like I said, it was a great time. It was my first time ever going. But I've been following all the events over the years. It was so much fun. The real highlight for me was one of the last things I did. I saw a voice panel, which had the voice actors for Goofy, Mickey, Donald, Pete. So Jim Cummings was there, Bill Farmer, and then they had all the Disney princesses come out, and they all sang songs. And then one of the more interesting things. The voice actor for Miguel came out, and he's older now. He went through puberty. His voice is deeper, and he's like, "Yeah, I can't do the voice of Miguel for the parks or anything." So I'm here with my replacement, and it was his little brother, which I thought was really cool. So they kept it in the family, and then they sang "Remember Me," and his little brother sounded identical to him. So that was something really special. And then the voice actress of Moana came out, and she sang. How Far I'll Go, and that was spectacular. So that was really the highlight for me. And you just left during that time, and I was like, I texted you, I'm like, you're leaving? I was like, no, come to this,
I wanted to, but Matt wanted to go to the park. I wanted to stay so much longer at the convention, but Matt was just done with it.
Yeah,
I was just like, God damn it! Like when we're on the car ride home, and I saw you were watching the panel, I'm like, of course it's going on right now. The thing I wanted to see the most, but
yeah. But let me say something. Doing the parks and then also doing the convention, it takes a lot out of you.
It does.
I was done, and I had my sister visited, and she came for the event, but we were going to Disneyland like almost every day the week prior. So leading up to that and then into the convention, and then we all went to Disney again on Saturday. It was by the end of it, I was dead.
Yeah. Dude, I finally caught con flu. That sucks. Like,
oh yeah?
It's so bad.
Hey, knock on wood, I didn't get sick, but yeah, you interact with so many people, and your immune system is just dead already because you're exerting your body so much. So Yeah, once it hits, are you still recovering?
I just recovered today. Like,
Damn.
surprisingly.
Yeah. Whenever I have to work a convention or interact with a lot of people and I'm shaking hands and talking to, random people, I always get sick. Very fortunately, I didn't get sick this time.
Yeah, I know. You usually get sick like all the time. So I was
Yeah,
surprised.
right?
I was like, oh, I caught it this time. But,
Yeah. Oh, well.
Well, thanks
But,
for being on the episode. Is there anything you want to plug while you're here?
No, I mean, I have obviously my YouTube channel is ChrisCrossMedia. I haven't posted in since summer started. I just need some time off to work on certain things. But I'm gonna bring back my show Scrapped and a couple other things. But one of the main reasons I've been gone is I work for basically James over at Cinemassacre, the Angry Video Game Nerd. So I do all of his graphic art for the thumbnails and marketing and things like that. And I'm working on some episodes there. So support the Angry Video Game Nerd. Support amazing show called Rental Reviews, where they review new movies, old movies, bad movies, good movies. So definitely check those out over at Cinemassacre, and you can see some of my work there. Yeah.
But yeah, you can check me out on YouTube and Twitter and Instagram and wherever the hell I am at BlueJ Gaming. Go follow me over there for art and stuff. And then Matt's stuff was it 4DG TV on Twitter, and you can find him over on YouTube.
He doesn't even plug anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't even plug much anymore. And then he has his YouTube channel at MixMatt, so you can find him over there. Alex was not in this episode, so Vinny, you wanna do your round?
I don't want to plug his stuff, but I will.
You don't have to.
Okay, so I mean, I might as well. All right, so I'll start with Alex's stuff before I get into mine because his is all just one. His is all just one thing. So you can find Alex on Twitter and actually no, I don't think he's on Twitter. He's on YouTube and Instagram with the title "Soon to be X Fat Boy." That is soon the number 2, the letters B and X, and then Fat Boy. You'll figure it out. And as for me, you can find me on Twitch at True Random Dumbass, all one word. YouTube at SRD. I do streaming on both of them. Have been doing it more on YouTube recently because I quite frankly can't be bothered to post stream replays. So that just kills an entire step. And you can find me on Twitter and then Instagram that I don't use at SRD on YT. Anyone else have any closing words before someone ends this thing off?
No, I think we're all good. Hopefully you can come back for another episode soon, Chris. And
yeah, that was great. We'll try to make you not talk as much next time.
Yeah. We'll get you
yeah, my throat would appreciate that. No, let's come back. Let's talk about the Scrapped Space Mountain movie, which I plan to do an episode on that, but we can talk about it here. We should definitely talk about the Joker movie that was just dropped, and also while we were recording this, the Terminator trailer.
Wait,
dropped.
What?
Yeah.
Hold the phone.
Yeah.
Okay, we will talk about that on the next episode.
Hell yeah!
You guys take care, and you have just been 8 bits.
That works.
That works.
That works.
All right, bye guys.
Vinny, you want to do Alex's last words or no?
Yeah. Stay sexy, bitches.